So I think I've seen this video before, but I am rewatching this video. So this is History of Japan by BILL WURTZ. And we'll see, because it's been, I think, 9 years since I've seen it. So, yeah.
Japan is an island by the sea
The
filled
whole
with
history.
volcanoes, and it's
It really is.
in the year -1 billion. Japan might not have been
Negative a
here. In
billion?
the year -40,000, it was here, and you could walk to it. And some people walk to it.
We're starting only at negative 40,000 versus...
When it got warmer, some
the very
icebergs
start.
melted, it became an island, and now there's lots of trees.
Ah.
So now there's people on the island. They're basically sort of hanging out in between the mountains, eating nuts off trees, and using the latest technology, like stones and bowls.
They're just
Ding
like me.
dong. It's the outside world, and they have technology from the future.
Oh, the Bronze
like really
Age.
good metal and crazy rice farms.
Oh,
Now
shit.
you can make a lot of rice really, really quickly. That means if you own the farm, you own a lot of food, which is something everybody needs to survive.
I've never been in a position where, like, basically the rest of the world is like, yo, we have quasi-cosmic rays, and we have, you're super, super far behind. But can you imagine? Can you imagine, like, living and you have your rocks and your nuts, and then somebody's like, here's bronze, and you've never seen it. Cosmic rays. I don't know. What's a weapon? You know? Like, I'm making something up. We have, neuro-fantastical physics now. So
that makes you king. Rice farming and rice kingdoms spread across the land.
What?
All the way to here. The most important kingdoms were here, 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 and here.
Oh.
But this one was the most important.
Yamato.
Ruled by a heavenly superperson.
Ah.
Emperor for short. Knock, knock. Get the door. It's religion. The new prince wants everyone to try this hot new religion from
Buddhism.
Please try this religion, he said. No, said everybody. Try it, he said. No, said everybody again, quieter this time.
No.
And so the religion was put into place.
That's all it
the
takes.
rules that came with it.
Oh, fine.
Then the government was taken over by another clique, and they made some reforms, like making the government govern more, and making the government more like China's government, which is a government that governs more. Hi, China.
I
they
see.
Said. Hi, dipshit, said China.
Oh.
Can you call us something else other than dipshit?
Dipshit,
said Japan.
eh?
Like what? Said China. How about sunrise land?
Shut
said Japan.
the fuck up.
And they stole China's alphabet and wrote a book about themselves.
Oh.
And then they made lots of poetry and art and another book about themselves.
The
Then they
Chronicles
stopped
of
moving to the
Japan.
capital every time the emperor died and kept it in one place for a while.
Kyoto.
Right here. And they conquered the north finally.
I think I'm trying to remember. I've been inside so many palaces in Kyoto. I think most of the palaces, the problem with all these Japanese castles, they burned down because they were all wood.
Get that squared
You can make
away.
religion out
A
of this
rich
real.
hipster named Kukai is bored with modern Buddhism, visits China, and learns a better version, which is more
Oh.
spiritual.
Ooh.
Comes back, reinvents the alphabet, and causes art and literature to be great for a long time.
He invented hiragana.
And the royal palace turned into such a dream world of art that they really didn't give a shit about running the country.
Oh.
So if you live outside the palace, how are you supposed to protect your shit from criminals? Hire a samurai.
Oh.
Everyone started hiring samurai. Rich, important people hired samurai. Poor people who could not afford to hire samurai did not hire samurai.
I see.
The samurai became organized
Class
and powerful,
system.
more powerful than the government. So they made their own military government.
Oh, the
Here,
shogunate.
They let the emperor still be emperor, but the shogun is actually in control.
Ooh.
Breaking news, the Mongols have invaded China,
We've invaded China.
said the Mongols.
Okay.
Please respect us, or else we might invade you as well.
Okay.
Okay, said Japan.
Oh.
So the Mongols came over, ready for war, and died in a tornado. But they tried again, and had a nice time fighting with the Japanese, but then died in a tornado.
They died in a tornado? What?
Then the emperor overthrows the shogunate. Then the shogunate overthrows him back and moves to Kyoto and makes a new shogunate. And the emperor can still dress like an emperor if he wants. That's fine.
What the heck? Mongol 0, tornado 2, typhoon. I was gonna say tornado didn't sound right. Twice is kind of crazy. Can you imagine, like, oh, that wasn't really lucky. Oh, whoops. Being like, I don't know, this isn't good. We died. And then you try again and you fucking died.
Kyoto and makes a new shogunate. And the emperor can still dress like an emperor if he wants. That's fine.
Because he's a heavenly
Painting
super
with less
person.
colors, collaborative poetry, plays, monkey fun, tea parties, gardening, architecture, flowers. It's
Pretty.
time for who's going to be the next shogun. Usually it's the
It's
shogun's
me.
kid, but the shogun doesn't have a kid. So he tries to get his brother to quit being a monk and be the next shogun. He says okay, but then the shogun has a kid. So now who's it
Oh.
going to be?
It's
Vote
the
now
kid.
on your phones. And everyone voted so hard that the palace caught on fire and burned down.
No.
The shogun actually didn't care. He was off somewhere doing poetry.
Bro, what?
And the whole country broke into pieces.
What's up with this poetry shit? What is this?
Everyone is fighting with each other for local power, and it's anybody's game. Knock knock, it's Europe. No, they're not here to take over. They just want to sell some shit.
Yet.
Like clocks, and guns, and Jesus. So that's cool, but everyone's
The
still
Jesus
fighting
thing.
each other for control.
Now with
and
guns,
wouldn't
yeah.
it be nice to control the capital? which right now is puppets with no one controlling them.
Okay.
This clan is ready to make a run for it, but first they have to trample this smaller clan, which is in the way. Surprise, the smaller clan wins, and the leader of that clan steals the idea of invading the capital and invades the capital, and it goes very well. He's about halfway through conquering Japan when someone who works for him kills him.
Oh dear.
And then someone else who works for him kills them.
Oh no.
That guy finishes conquering
Hideyoshi!
Japan. And then he confiscated everybody's swords and made some rules. And now I'm going to invade Korea and then hopefully China, he said, and failed, and also died. But before he died, he...
I do remember that! He said, and failed, and also died.
Told these 5 guys to take care of his 5-year-old son until he's old enough to be the next ruler of Japan. And the 5 guys said, yeah, right. It's not going to be this kid. It's going to be one of us, because we're grown-ups. And it's probably going to be this guy who happens to be way more rich and powerful than the others.
Yep.
A lot of people support him, but a lot of people support not supporting him. They have a fight, and he wins and starts a new government right here.
But he completely ignored his son.
He still lets the emperor dress like an emperor and have very nice things. But don't get confused. This is the new government, and they are very strict. So strict they close the country. No one can leave, and no one can come in, except for the Dutch if they want to buy and sell shit. But they have to do it right here. Now that the entire
You know, it's so funny because if you've read the book Shogun, it explains how that supposedly happened in like this hilarious fantasy novel world. Did you know that only 14% of you guys are subscribed to my YouTube channel? That means that a lot of you who watch don't subscribe. But if I've heard that if I tell you to do it, you do it. So I would appreciate if you subscribed. It's free. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I want to hit 100,000 subscribers this year. That'd be cool. Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
It was not at war with itself. The population increased a lot. Business increased. Schools were built.
Dutch
roads
pirates,
were
yeah,
built.
exactly.
Everyone learned to read. Books were published. There was poetry, plays, sexy times, shows, and Dutch studies. People started to study European science from books they bought from the Dutch. We're talking geography, skeletons, physics, chemistry, astronomy, and maybe even electricity. Over time, the economic and cultural prosperity began to gradually slow down. Knock, knock. It's the United States.
Okay.
Huge boats with guns. Gunboats.
Gunboats.
Open the country. Stop having it be closed, said the United States.
Is that
really
Perry?
nothing they could do, so they signed a contract that lets United States, Britain, and Russia visit Japan anytime they want. Choshu and Satsuma hated this.
Yeah.
It sucks, they said. This sucks.
They're getting bullied.
With almost very little outside help, they overthrew the shogunate and somehow made the emperor again and moved him to Edo, which they renamed Eastern Capital. They made a new government, which was a lot more Western. They made a new constitution that was pretty Western, and a military that was pretty Western. And do you know what else is Western?
Oh dear.
That's right, it's conquering stuff. So what can we conquer?
Oh boy.
Korea. They conquer Korea, taking it from its previous owner, China, and then go a little bit further. And Russia rushes in out of nowhere and says, "Stop, no, you can't take that. We were going to build a railroad through here to try to get some warm water." And Russia
Warm water?
builds their railroad.
Warm water? Wait, they want warm water? Why do they want warm water?
Supervised by a shit ton of soldiers. And then when the railroad was done, they downgraded to a fuck ton. Did I say downgrade? I meant upgrade. And Japan says, "Can you maybe chill?" And Russia says, "How about maybe?"
Warm water port. Oh, access to warm ocean to sail. Oh, okay. Their ports freeze. Gotcha. That makes sense. It's fucking cold in Russia.
Maybe you chill. Japan is kind of scared of Russia.
I am
You'll never
also
guess who's
scared of
also
Russia.
kind of scared of Russia.
Oh.
Great Britain.
And
so
Great
Japan
Britain.
and Great Britain make an alliance together so they can be a little less scared of Russia. Feeling confident, Japan goes to war against Russia, just for a moment, and then they both get tired and stop. It's time.
Wait, whoa. Did they lose all of Korea in that?
Japan goes to war against Russia, just for a moment, and then they both get tired and stop.
But they've got like the little tail end here. They kept a little bit of a tail.
It's time for World War I.
Oh dear.
The world is about to have a war because it's the 1900s and weapons are getting crazy, and all these empires are excited to try them out on each other. Meanwhile, Japan has been enjoying conquering stuff and wants more. And the next thing on their list is this part of China and lots of tiny islands. All that stuff belongs to Germany, which just had war declared on it by Britain because Britain was friends with Belgium, which was being trespassed by Germany in order to get to France to kick France's ass because France is friends with Russia.
Somebody shot somebody.
Ass because Austria was getting ready to kick Serbia's ass because someone from
Serbia
Serbia shot the
shot
leader of Austria's
Austria.
ass. Or actually shot him in the head. And Britain is currently friends with Japan, so you know what that means. Duh, Japan should take the islands. Which they wanted to do anyway.
Japan should take the islands. They're like, wait a second, this is an opportunity.
So they called Britain on the telly.
Japan
to sort
won.
of
Yeah,
let
Japan
them
wins
know.
this,
And then they did it.
technically.
And they also helped Britain a little here and there with some errands and stuff. Now the war is over, and congratulations, Japan. You technically fought in the war, which means you get to sit at the negotiating table with the big dudes, where they decided who owns what. And yes, Japan gets to keep all that shit they stole from Germany. You also get to join the post-war
Korea?
Mega Alliance, the League of Nations, whose mission statement is to try not to take over the world.
Oops.
The Great Depression is bad.
Ah.
Japan's economy is now crappy, but the military is doing just fine.
So sad.
And it invades Manchuria. In the League of Nations, it's like, no, don't do that. If you're in the League of Nations, you're not supposed to take over the world. And Japan
bad.
said, how about I do anyway?
Oh.
And Japan invaded more and more and more and more of China, and was planning to invade the entire East.
You've got mail.
It's
That's a lot.
Germany, the new leader of Germany. He has a cool mustache and he's trying to take over the world and needs friends. This also
Wonder
got
if you'd be
forwarded
my
to Italy.
friend.
They all decided to be friends because they had so much in common. It's time for
Trying to take over the world.
Germany is invading the neighbors. Then they invade the neighbors' neighbors. Then the neighbors' neighbors' neighbors, who happened to be Britain, said, holy shit. And the United States started helping Britain because they are good friends, and started not helping Japan because they're friends and our friends are not friends. Plus they're planning
I've
on
seen this
invading
part.
the entire ocean. The United States is also
That's
working
been
on
on
a
TikTok
large,
recently.
very huge bomb, bigger than any other bomb ever.
A
Just
fat
in
man even?
case. But they still haven't joined the war. War looks bad on TV, and the United States is really starting to care about their image. But then Japan spits on them in Hawaii and challenges them to war. And they say yes. And then Germany, as a symbol of friendship, declares war on the United States also.
Oh, how
So the
friendly.
United States goes to war in Europe, and they help the gang chase Germany back into Germany. And they also start chasing Japan back into Japan. And they haven't used the bomb yet and are curious to see if it works, so they drop it on Japan. They actually dropped 2.
That silence was deafening. Interrupting Sunny to remind you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Did you know that only 14% of you are subscribed? I would appreciate if more of you were subscribed. If you want it, you don't have to. It's actually like super zero pressure, but I appreciate it if you do. Okay, thank you. Back to your regular schedule. I've been to both of those places. I went to Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I've been to Hiroshima twice, Hiroshima, and I've seen the dome twice. And they have like this whole peace museum. And in Nagasaki, they literally have like a huge museum dedicated to it. You win. Well, at least at least wasn't the right word. These were hydrogen bombs. Wait, they were atom bombs, not hydrogen bombs. That just goes to show, by the way, these entire cities were decimated with a bomb that's 10 times weaker than the current ones we have. Hydrogen is worse? Oh, I thought hydrogen was better. Hydrogen is way worse. I heard that these were like weak nukes. Is that not true? Better for the environment. Oh, better. I'm like trying to find the right word. Stronger. Worse as in for the victims. Okay, I was talking strength. Better for destruction, worse for people. Okay, so yeah, these were technically weak nukes, by the way, which makes nuclear war horrifying if like the nukes we now have are like 20 times bigger. Oh, they're bigger, boom, less radiation. I heard that most of the radiation from this event actually got scooped up and went to like Russia. To cause maximum destruction, these detonated over the top of, over the cities. They detonated very high, so the explosion would go downwards. They detonated tall, high up, and a lot of that radiation got swept away. Airburst, yeah, which is messed up.
The United States installed a new government, inspired by the United States government.
Oh no.
Just the right ingredients for a post-war economic miracle. And Japan
If all of this didn't happen like this, would we have Sonic the Hedgehog? Was this necessary?
starts making TVs, VCRs, automobiles, and camcorders as fast as they can, and also better than everybody else. They get rich, and the economy goes
shit.
wild. And then the miracle wears off. But everything's still pretty cool, I guess.
Oh, bye! Oh, it ended. Were the nukes necessary? A necessary part of the history to cause the post-war economic miracle that led to, like, some of the IPs I like? Am I terrible? Sega was founded by Americans, so Sonic wouldn't have happened. Oh, I didn't know that. Hey, well, this was good. Oh my god. I like this video a lot. I've definitely seen it before. There were points where I was like, yep, I remember that, even though this is 9 years old. I have not watched this since it came out. It probably took him a lot of work. 83 million views. Good for this guy.